Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to PWR today on a very special Sunday, April 11th, 2021. I'm the man they call Meathead, joined by Matthew Thomas. Good morning, Matthew.
Good morning, Meathead. We're a night into WrestleMania.
We are. Now, I have to ask. We normally don't talk on a Sunday morning. On a day this big, we have to. So we're going to go over everything from last night. But first off, Sunday rituals. What do you normally do on Sunday? Are you an early riser to get to church on time? Are you a ham and rolls kind of guy right after church? What are you doing on Sundays?
I used to have ham and rolls on Sundays. I haven't had those in a while. But recently, I've actually been working most Sundays, so it's kind of been a work day as of late. But this Sunday, because it is WrestleMania Sunday, I've got the day off, so it's like a holiday here.
Yeah, it's like Trolls singing Holiday Madonna style. Holiday! Come on. Holiday! Well, we have night one to go over, and ladies and gentlemen, this is the most unique. We thought last year it was unique, right? When we did the 2 days worth of WrestleMania. It's not even going to be close to this year's. We have had the first ever rain delay in WrestleMania history. Matthew Thomas, we have boots on the ground. We have a reporter on the ground down in Tampa. Her name is the lovely Linda Kay. And she had reported back to us that it was raining down there. And about an hour before the pre-show was supposed to kick off and they were going to let people in, they actually removed people. They cleared the seats. There was a weather alert up on the big screen. There was apparently lightning and heavy weather-related issues. Matthew, did you get the news?
I did. You knew it was going to happen at some point. I remember when we went to WrestleMania back in 2008 in Orlando. That was one of the first years that, I guess they'd had it in stadiums years prior, but that was a thought with us being in Florida and this time of year. Florida is known for.
That day it didn't rain. It was like 90-some degrees that day.
Yeah, and I mean, it's pretty common to get some weather to kind of come up out of nowhere in Florida. And WWE with WrestleMania in these previous years had been pretty successful, but it was going to happen at some point. Was a little bit disappointed because I was expecting Andy Griffith reruns, during the rain delay. If you'd watched any Atlanta Braves baseball game for like a 20-year period, that was customary during a rain delay. Was Andy Griffith. Did not happen on Peacock. I guess they just don't have the rights.
They don't have the rights. That's a Turner show, my friend.
Yeah.
That's a Turner show. But it was, again, unique. One, we've got people back in the stands, and you could see it in each one of the performers tonight. From the pre-show panelists of King and Booker and, Rosenberg to, the backstage interviewers to the, the talent. This was something else. I mean, they were feeling it. They were feeling for the first time the anticipation, the excitement, it's time to get ready. It's time to get going. They could feel it, right? So they start off. Stephanie McMahon tweets out, "We will start the show exactly at 8 Eastern, 7 Central." I think to stick to what she said, they did their opening. They had Vince come out and say, "Welcome to WrestleMania." And Vince, God bless his heart, Vince is still alive and kicking. You know what I mean? Vince is Vince, and that's all I'm going to say about that. Your thoughts on having all the talent out on the stage?
It's something that didn't occur to me. I was expecting America the Beautiful and the Open. I thought it was a nice touch. And
me too.
The really good thing is we talked about it a little bit the other day about the first two people out of the curtain, how special of a moment it was going to be. I think they did a great job of letting everybody come out there and getting that a first initial pop. I think it was a brilliant move by the WWE.
Brilliant. Excuse me. Brilliant for them and brilliant for the talent as well, because you got to, pick the scab on that one. You got to rip the Band-Aid off on that and get out there, get it done. Now,
100%.
They come back from the stage there and say, "We are under a weather delay." I loved Peacock in this way because they treated it like a pure sporting event and had the ticker scrolling on the bottom. 100%. I thought that was fantastic. WWE, a multi-billion-dollar company, on the fly. You know what? We're going to fill some time. We're going to go to backstage interviews. Yeah. I guarantee you, the producers in the back, your Shane Helms, your Dean Malenkos, those kind of guys, even though Dean, I think, is in AEW now. But those kind of guys probably started calling some of the talents, get over here. Are you dressed? I need you up here. We're going to do interviews. Go.
What I enjoyed about this was the fact that, there wasn't time to even so much as get bullet points together. This was the mic in front of some talent.
Fresh
this is what we want you to convey. And it was fun, man. I really enjoyed Big E. I really enjoyed Seth Rollins. They seemed to kind of elaborate, the most with it. But it was fun to really get them right there on the fly in uncharted territory. Do you ever remember a rain delay in WWE before?
No, it's the first ever.
Yep.
First ever. So let's talk about Drew McIntyre, who was really one of the first to come out and do the interview spot. Drew, holy smokes, Drew was amped. And again, we talk about how the talent had to get over to pull the Band-Aid off. Drew was ready to go. We get late word that even though we thought the main event was supposed to be McIntyre versus Lashley because it's the main championship. It's the WWE championship. They are so amped. They want to be the first out of the gate. We just find out that Drew and Bobby are ready to go now, and they're just bouncing back and forth. You could tell it was a little unscripted because they didn't know what to say to each other when they were kind of standing in front of each other.
Yeah. And
that's fine. MVP jumped in, did great. Wow. I mean, I could feel what was going on there. So Matthew, we could talk about Seth Rollins and we could talk about New Day and we could talk about all that stuff, but I don't want to waste too much time on that because they are what they are and we have got a lot to talk about. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to start off the first match by saying 1 year, 1 month, 1 day. That's where we get started. Drew McIntyre comes out. Bobby Lashley comes out. We have a WWE Championship match in front of the fans. Before we talk about the finish, let's talk about the fact that it's WrestleMania. The crowd looks amped that you can see. Yep. If you're looking closer, everybody was crammed in on the floor. If you look just above them at the lower bowl, it's mostly cardboard cutouts with people sprinkled in between. What were your thoughts of the visual presentation of the fans around ringside and then the cardboard cutouts in the bigger picture?
They did a good job of shooting it. You put everybody together. I was under the assumption it was going to be a little more dispersed, but the visual of having the people that you could see on the floor together, that looked like a normal WWE event, minus the masks. Notice there were not a lot of sprawling shots of the crowd, but it was, I thought they did a good job overall of shooting the product. And it felt as close to normal as this event could. I mean, what you saw on the hard camera looked like the WWE event. Did not necessarily look like a WrestleMania per se, because you have a lot of the sweeping shots of the enormity of all of it. They kept it in pretty tight, things being what they were, though I think that they did the absolute best they could with it.
I think so too. And I think it looked fantastic. I was laughing to myself. And I mean, again, it's a multi-billion-dollar company on the fly, but don't they have a prop master there? All TV shows have a prop master. Like if they have to quickly engineer something like hardware-wise, why is the commentary, the announce table, why is that not got a canopy over it as well?
Yeah.
Why were Michael Cole, Byron Saxton, and who else was there up in front? Samoa Joe. Why did they stand the first match?
Yeah, because they had some wet seats and they didn't want to get their butts wet.
I get it, but what I'm saying is, seriously, you couldn't engineer something up?
Yeah. Now, I was very surprised by that because when I first saw it, you're conditioned when you see them standing, typically it's after the table has been busted
spot,
up.
Right.
And I'm trying to remember, is my memory faulty? Did I miss something? Is there a huge spot getting ready to come up? It's like, no, their seats are wet.
No. I mean, again, get a prop master in there and take care of that. Build a canopy over it or something. Come on. Multi-billion-dollar. You couldn't think of that? However, they handled it as well as they could. The poncho look for Joe and Michael Cole was pretty funny, to be honest. Mm-hmm. And we're saying Michael Cole, by the way, we failed to mention Tom Phillips for the Raw side in COVID protocol, unable to call WrestleMania this weekend. No other word other than Tom Phillips unable to call the matches due to being in COVID protocol.
My goodness, though, with the weather, I was so glad that Byron's suit did not get ruined. Did you see that thing?
That thing was glorious.
Wasn't it, though?
I mean, almost as glorious as who's the ring announcer for the Raw side? His name slips me, but he had a pretty kicking suit too. To be honest with you, that jacket was amazing.
It's WrestleMania. You gotta bust out your best threads. Which by the way, I'm sure everybody prominently saw that collar and elbow featured ringside.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, dead hard camera center. He had the shirt on. He had the mask on. CXE in the house. Collar and elbow, by the way, if you want to save yourself 10%, use the promo code PWR360, and you might be able to wear your stuff ringside when WWE comes back to town with collarandelbowbrand.com. Thank you, Matthew, for the setup there.
Oh, you're welcome.
Let's talk about the match. I was worried about the mats outside because if you looked close enough, it was dry in the middle. There was wet spots all around it. I'm like, they're probably going to have to ad-lib the match a little bit and keep it tight. But I think these two guys did a great job with that. Honestly, you know what I was going through my mind the whole time is they should treat it like basketball. Because if you ever watch the guys during a free throw, they're always cleaning the bottom of their shoes so they're nice and dry and can get traction. I wonder if they had towels, thought about that, and maybe towel off the bottom of their boots.
Not a bad idea.
Just a thought. I mean, that's, just me. The finish, sadly for the man they call Meathead and the team they call Meatheads, distraction by MVP, delay, Lashley puts out McIntyre. McIntyre didn't tap. He was knocked unconscious. Here's the funny part, though. When Cole says he was knocked unconscious, McIntyre's rolling around.
Yeah.
But your winner, still champion for Team Matt Damien, Bobby Lashley.
Nobody else on this fine product thought that was going to happen, but there was one sole voice that said, you know what? I think Bobby Lashley's walking away from WrestleMania, your champion. I did not necessarily foresee it coming clean, but my goodness, I don't think it can be overlooked. The dominance in which Bobby Lashley beat Drew McIntyre. You had one spot where McIntyre was going for the Claymore. He was distracted by MVP. But as far as the actual finish, you had Bobby Lashley putting out Drew McIntyre. Again, he did not tap. So you kept, McIntyre, you kept him strong there. You also never had McIntyre deliver the Claymore. So you kept that move protected as well, too. So they did a good job of keeping McIntyre protected. But Bobby Lashley, your heel champion, again carrying on his streak of dominance and more or less putting Drew McIntyre to sleep, smack dab in the middle of the mat to open up WrestleMania.
The tag team turmoil match, Lana and Naomi took on the Riot Squad, and Carmella and Billie Kay, Natalya and Tamina Snuka, Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. It started off with Lana and Naomi going against Carmella and Billie Kay. Carmella and Billie Kay win the first pinfall, so Lana and Naomi are out. I always loved Naomi's outfit, the glow, feel the glow stuff. Lana wore hers too. Maybe it's just me. Was Lana showing a little?
Showing a little what?
Nah, I mean, let's just say she was showing.
Showing like she was pregnant? That's what they say.
No, we've been down that path already. That was before Bobby was champion.
Interesting. I'll have to review the tape.
Next team out would be the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. No, I take that back. Riot Squad came out next. Yeah. Riot Squad defeats Carmella and Billie Kay. Then the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke come out. Scary moment for Mandy Rose. She slipped on the stage. Titus O'Neil, obviously, in the house, so maybe he had some words of encouragement afterwards. And then finally, the team of Natalya and Tamina Snuka. How have they not ever, Corey Graves dropped this one, how have they not ever stuck this one on her? Nobody is Mina than Tamina. Wow, that line is amazing.
That was great. That was great. I really like what they're doing with Natalya and Tamina. Just going back to SmackDown this week, when you were really looking at the people in this match, they're looking the strongest. And to me, out of all these tag teams, as far as the booking that we've seen in recent weeks, they've kept these two very, very strong, and it showed last night.
Singles match for the first time ever, Cesaro getting a one-on-one match at WrestleMania with Seth Rollins. Wow. I would normally talk about the Old Spice program because they keep going on with the Old Spice salesmen. There was the Hurricane, our friend Shane Helms, 24/7 champion, R-Truth. You can follow that along on YouTube. But let's talk Cesaro, Seth Rollins. I love the beginning of the match, the psychology of it. Seth Rollins, each time Cesaro went for the big swing, Seth Rollins had a new counter to it. You know what I really loved about Seth Rollins' tights? He had the Obama filter of himself on his tights.
That looked familiar. I think I've seen somebody else in a similar picture.
Yeah, I've got a picture of myself like that too, with a big old mustache that says #thanks pal.
I don't think you can just tease the audience with that. That might be worth a tweet.
It might be worth a tweet down the road. Cesaro gets in multiple swings. Here's the swing I love. What did he call it? It was called the UFO, right? Where he doesn't use his hands.
Yeah,
he puts them in like a torture rack and then spins them on his neck.
Oh, that was awesome.
That is super awesome. And then he puts his hands up to balance and he goes right back to it again.
Yeah.
Holy smokes. Cesaro, big singles win. The King of Swing is on his way.
One of the discussions that we had going into WrestleMania was the first time in over a year you've had fans back. Who's really going to be over? Who's going to get the pop? I think we had our answer here. Cesaro may have had the best ovation of the night.
Best real ovation.
Yeah.
Because that didn't sound canned to me at all.
No, not at all. It sounded genuine and authentic.
Yeah, Cesaro looked real good. Let's talk Raw Tag Team titles. Almost an AJ Styles against the New Day. Big E brings him out to the ring. And again, Big E, I swear, was going to pop his vocals. He did that intro so hard. He was screaming. But again, you're in front of a crowd. It's the first time you got to do it in, 1 year, 1 month, 1 day. Big E just going bonkers. The New Day looked real good. AJ looked real good. But amazingly enough, and here's what I enjoyed the most. We used to hear from Shane Helms all the time talk about facials, right? And not that kind of facial, you sick pig. We used to talk about facial expressions. Almost had a monster look. When he got in the ring, He dominated. It was over. He finished off Kofi Kingston. AJ yells, 1 foot. Puts his foot on the chest of Kofi Kingston. 1, 2, 3. New Raw Tag Team Champions. I think we're talking about predictions. I feel like one of the two of us said that AJ and Omos would be Tag Team Champions.
That was you, and I'll fully acknowledge that. However, this is the only match that I've gotten wrong since the start of SmackDown on Friday. So this entire WrestleMania weekend, I've correctly predicted every single match with the exception of one. Although it was not the way that I saw it going, when I saw it actually happen, it makes sense. New Day tag team champions 1,000 times thus far. I don't think it hurts them by losing here. And this, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, makes AJ Styles a WWE Triple Crown champion, and or Triple Crown or Grand Slam. What's the correct terminology here? So
I don't think he's a Grand Slam champion, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, I might have to get back to the research on that, but I think there's some significance here as far as AJ's title reign.
Because he's been United States champion, but I don't think he's been Intercontinental. I might be wrong. He might have been Intercontinental and not United States.
I'm pretty sure he's had a U.S. run. I'll have to go back and check and see.
Well, if that's the case, then he's a Grand Slam champion.
Yeah, I think it is Grand Slam. We should have the official word on that at some point in the near future. But no, I think it made sense, and it's going to give us, that AJ Omos story right there. So,
okay. Steel cage match: Braun Strowman versus Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon coming out in Brains versus Braun jersey. He's always got a custom jersey on, which is fine. Braun Strowman, big pop, smoke, pyro, the whole works. He's attacked ringside by Elias and Jackson Riker. Shane had the brains of the match, as he's trying to point out that they had him attacked early. Braun really played the monster well because they kept trying to take down the monster. Shane kept running. Best spot of the night. I love this. It was very creative. Ripping the cage side panel open. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Now, not seeing that before, I thought that was an interesting spot, and this match was what it needed to be. I enjoyed the two of them much more so, and the fact that we actually had a match and it was not that program that we've had for months now. So this match was fine. It was what it needed to be, and I enjoyed it for what it was.
Okay, we've joked about it. He's been sniffing around since the Royal Rumble. He's got a friend in Damian Priest. His name is Bad Bunny. And it went from Bad Bunny and The Miz to Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, Miz and John Morrison. The bunnies come running out. I called the kids in a room, of course. Look at all these bunnies over here. I think a couple of them lost their tails in the ring. There was a bunch of white little puffballs laying all over the place.
There were actually ears. Some of them were missing their ears.
Wow. But very cool. And it wasn't for Bad Bunny. It was for The Miz and Morrison with Johnny Drip Drip wearing Drip Drip glasses, which were pretty cool as well. Bad Bunny pulled off the Canadian Destroyer, the Bunny Destroyer.
Yep. No, he did a good job. He, was good performance, and I think much more than a lot of people were probably expecting. So kudos to him for, putting in the work and the dedication to do this alongside, his busy schedule and everything else he's got going on. It's really cool to see somebody come in and, put forth the work to be able to deliver like this.
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. If they knew that it was the Destroyer, because they knew it was the Canadian Destroyer, weren't going to say that, are they acknowledging that they knew who TNA and Impact was? Because Petey Williams, ironically enough, returned to Impact Wrestling last night on pay-per-view.
Wow. The thing of it is, I feel like the Destroyer has been used so much now. Like, a lot of times you'll see it referenced in other promotions and stuff as the Destroyer. So I think that has become almost a bit of a generic maneuver now that doesn't necessarily trace its paths back to its origin. Who was using it?
Was it Michelle McCool?
You might be right. No. She had a variation of the Styles Clash, didn't she?
I think so. You're right.
That's what it was. Yep, it was.
But I think it was a female that was using the Destroyer. Carmella? No, that couldn't have been it.
It doesn't ring a bell, but doesn't mean it's not so.
Fair enough. Well, the winners of the match, Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, that was predicted by everybody. If you were on DraftKings, not that this is an ad for DraftKings, and they said, do you think Bad Bunny and Damian Priest will beat the Miz? Everybody put their money on that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, the SmackDown Women's title match, Bianca Belair, Sasha Banks. Let's say a couple things here before we talk about the match. This had been talked about. This is going to be the first time the women in a singles match will headline a night of WrestleMania. Take nothing away from it being a 2-night event. Don't say because it's a Saturday night, it doesn't mean as much. That's garbage. It means just as much. Michael Cole very poignantly pointed out, you are now watching the first time ever 2 black women wrestle in the main event of WrestleMania. The emotion of that Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair headlining the biggest pay-per-view in the biggest company. B, fans knowing that and being right there for the first time 1 year, 1 month, and 1 day. And C, Bianca Belair is the quote-unquote rookie, and she's headlining WrestleMania. Matthew Thomas, I almost lost him myself.
You weren't like that guy. Did you almost come over the rail like that guy did?
That was her father.
Oh, was it?
At the end of the commentary. We'll get to that. But I almost lost it too because the significance of the moment was not lost on me. The irony of a company and a industry that used to live off of stereotypes and has a very poor track record of treating people equally.
Yeah.
May have become, I don't know if they're using it. I don't know if they're becoming woke. I hate that term.
Right.
But amazing. And I mean, honestly, I just wish I could have paused time right before the match, gave her a hug, said so proud, and then just go back to it because it was amazing.
Here's the thing: not only you can't you pause time, you can't pause Peacock right now. Yeah. There you go. You like that?
That was amazing. I was in a very deep moment, and it took me a second to take myself out of it.
And I just took you right out of it, didn't I? No, you're exactly right. A historic night for WWE, and coming on the heels of many historic firsts for WWE and WrestleMania in recent years, and it's good to see a company making the right moves like they did tonight. And no, the moment was not lost on anybody, especially not lost on Bianca Belair. I mean, she
visibly crying.
Yeah, before the match started. And let's go back. That happened a lot last night. Go back and watch. Bobby Lashley did a really good job holding it together until the final match. When he went up on the turnbuckle, or until the end of the match, when he went up on the turnbuckle, he lost it a little bit, as did Cesaro, as did a whole host of other people. And that was really what I took away from the show. What I really enjoyed the most was seeing the genuine happiness on these performers' faces to be in front of a live audience after over a year and just this crazy.
Let's say it again. Let's say it out loud. 1 year, 1 month, 1 day.
Yep. And we talked about it just a few days ago on this very program. You might as well go ahead with the full Bianca Belair push. And that's exactly what they did last night, realizing the opportunity, realizing the moment, and being your new SmackDown Women's Champion.
I want you guys that are listening to this, and comment if you want to on the thread. I want you to realize you are living in a moment right now where we're going to be watching the network special on this in about 2-3 years. We're living in that moment right now. We're living in Bianca Belair's day before or day of. We're living in 24/7 or 365 or whatever they're going to call it at that point. We're living in that moment right now. These are very special moments.
Absolutely.
I mean, they could call it the end of the pandemic era. Michael Cole has a couple times called it the Thunderdome era.
Yeah.
Realize and take a step back. Realize you are in one of these specials that are coming up in the next couple of years. Matthew, you and I will probably be still doing this show, and we'll be talking about this moment. I want to cement that in, and I want to repeat it again. Take a step back, breathe it in, realize you're living in this moment now, and I want you to take account of how this feels. So when we go back and watch these specials, when they do eventually air, you can say, I remember when.
And throughout this, you cannot say thank you enough for all the promotions to WWE, AEW, Impact, all the other ones that we are failing to mention tonight. They haven't missed a beat. They have adapted.
Impact had a pay-per-view tonight, or last night, excuse me.
They have put out content. They didn't miss a week. WWE went immediately into the Performance Center the first week when all of this stuff broke. I mean, and what that has done, it's not just a company continuing to push out product and continuing to keep the company rolling. They have provided a degree of normalcy to the country, to the world, in a very abnormal time that has just been that has helped so many people throughout this last year and change. And I don't think that can just go unnoticed. And it's hard to articulate the benefit that has provided so many people.
The winner of the match and new SmackDown Women's Champion, Bianca Belair. Great match. I am still a little bit shocked at the whiplash, the welt that Bianca gave her with her hair. I mean, if we're to suspend disbelief, technically, wasn't that a weapon? But if it's a part of your body, is it a weapon? I mean, if we're talking in the wrestling world, there's some. Sasha needs to talk to the accounting firm, Dewey Cheatham and Howe, and figure out if there is a rule broken there.
Here's the thing. I was not aware until last night the actual physical damage that hair could cause and inflict
Well, you got to ask what's at the end of that, like whipping a towel. Yeah,
and inflict on other people. And so if you do not want to inflict on harm on other people, I think we got a sponsor that can help you out with that.
Are you talking about manscaped.com?
I sure am.
So you're saying that somebody's ball bush can be way too big and inflict physical harm on them, poke an eye out.
That was basically a puncture wound that was left last night on Sasha Banks, and you wouldn't want to do that on somebody.
No. 20% off using the promo code PWR over at manscaped.com, and don't be leaving welts on people with your man-fro.
That was basically a PSA right there, Meathead.
It was a PSA. Matthew Thomas, here we are Sunday morning. You need to go talk to the Lord after all that talk, because you need some sins to confess. I've got some sins to confess. And then we go afterwards and get ham and rolls with butter on the roll. And I like a sweet dill or a bread and butter pickle.
To go along with the ham rolls?
Oh, absolutely.
Interesting. I've never done it in the context of a ham roll. Now, I am a big fan of a Cuban sandwich, and I think they do that. I mean, there's some picklage involved with the ham in the context of the Cubans, so I guess it does work together.
No. Ham and rolls, south side of Milwaukee style. We're talking about you get a 8-pack of rolls or 6-pack of rolls. You get a pound of ham. Depending on how many people are coming over, you get 3-4 of those. You get a jar of bread and butter, pickles, a little ketchup, a little mustard, and butter on the bun.
Interesting. That actually does sound very good.
And you should see it any place. I mean, Matthew, ham and rolls are such a tradition. I know you say you've done them, but such a tradition in the city of Milwaukee. Like a Friday night fish fry, but on Sundays after church, they go through so much. Every place that you can think of is doing ham and rolls. The corner convenience store that only sells Mountain Dews and all that, on Sunday they'll pop out with some ham and rolls.
See, that's very interesting that it is actually too kind of a commercialized deal there in Wisconsin, because in the South where I grew up, it's popular, but it's more of a home, go to your grandmother's and eat the ham and rolls as opposed to pick it up somewhere.
Oh, so no. There's a line out the door.
It's interesting that it is a commercial product in your wonderful state.
But you're not going to a big brand name place. You're going to a mom and pop.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the same style. It's home style, but you're going to a mom and pop. You're going to the deli around the corner. You're going to the family, butcher. That's where you get your ham and rolls.
Interesting. With the addition of a pickle. See, that makes a big
bread and butter pickle specifically. Yeah. Stick your fork into the jar. You pull out 2-3 of them and lay them across the bun.
I mean, that's a pretty significant piece of culinary advice right there.
It is. I mean, what do you expect from a place that talks about ball bushes going right into ham and rolls?
That's a transition if I've ever heard one.
Let's transition into what's going to be happening tomorrow morning. Linda Kay is on the ground. She's at WrestleMania last night. I don't know if she has tickets to tonight, but tomorrow morning she will be giving us a live report from Tampa Bay on everything happening WrestleMania Night 2 from Raymond James Stadium. Matthew, we've got it covered. And then we'll be talking Monday tomorrow as well. We'll also talk about the unofficial results of the PWR draft for 2020. Matthew, I didn't put out a tweet, or the team didn't put out a tweet on the NXT results because they were going to be so small, right? I didn't have enough. Mm-hmm. Here's where we are for NXT. In the NXT world, on Wednesday night, it was USA. Thursday night was the Peacock. Drew Baydala had 80 points on Thursday night because he had Jordan Devlin lose the specialty match, and he had Adam Cole lose a specialty match. Doesn't matter that he lost. He scored 80 points. Team Matt Damien, yourself, you only scored 5 because you appeared, and you lost the title. And then David Hero, David the Zohan Hero, won 105 points with a Karrion Kross title match win. Now, let's talk about what happened last night at WrestleMania. And it's not good news for the man they call Meathead. Drew Baydala, with his late season moves, has he's done some damage. And, oh man. Currently, before the results of WrestleMania Night 2, now leading the PWR draft, Drew Baydala, 3,485 points. Second place, the team they call Meatheads, 3,340 points. In third, David Hero, 2,915 points. Fourth place, 2,620, Team Matt Damien.
Yeah.
And in the last place there, Linda Kay at 2,290. I am officially lodging a complaint. I will be working on something, and I'm not going down without a fight. That's all I can say.
Interesting. You led the PWR draft for how long?
51 of 52 weeks. Let's repeat that. 51 of 52 weeks.
And the winner is the one who leads it the most out of the weeks, right? So, yes. So 51 weeks, you win, right? Isn't that the way it works? Yeah.
Because otherwise the draft would have been over 6 months ago.
Oh. That's how months work. Okay.
Tonight, WrestleMania Night 2. A lot of big matches. I have got the Raw Women's title match. I've got Asuka. I've got Shayna Baszler. Matthew Thomas, you've also got action tonight as well. You have got, let's see who's competing for you. You've got, you've got Randy Orton.
Oh, right? That's right. I do. I've got
in a specialty match. I believe it's a specialty match. We'll have to
I don't know that they've announced the stipulations yet. I
don't think they have.
Yeah.
You really don't have much else.
No, that's all I've got.
Drew Baydala tonight also has. Let's see who Drew's got. He has got Shayna Baszler appearing in a tag team title match. He's got. I have the list in front of me here. Stand by. Drew also has no one else. I have a chance. I've got Asuka and Rhea Ripley. If Rhea Ripley wins the title, I have a chance to catch up here. For David Hero, I believe he's got Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, appearing. David Hero is also going to have, let's see, who else has he got? He's got Roman Reigns in a match tonight as well. Drew Baydala also has Edge. I forgot to mention Edge. Edge.
Sounds like Drew Baydala's got a lot of people.
He does. I'm telling you, I'm calling shenanigans. I don't care if my wife doesn't like that word. Shenanigans. I will not lose this draft.
Sounds like you might have to review the tail of the tape and go to the replay booth and make sure I's were dotted and the T's were crossed. Or is it the other way around? Do you dot T's and cross I's?
I don't dot I's. I dot lowercase J's.
I always forget those, yeah.
Well, Matthew, tomorrow morning, Linda Kay, the man that called me did, will be reviewing Night 2 of WrestleMania. Any parting words?
Hey, it was a very fun and eventful Night 1, and I've just got to think that Night 2 is going to be on the same level. I'm really looking forward to the main event for Night 2. I like what they have done with the story they're telling with Edge. I know we were somewhat critical of the introduction of Daniel Bryan into the match, into the storyline, but my goodness, especially coming off the heels of what I thought was an epic Edge promo on SmackDown a couple of nights ago, I am super excited going into Night 2 of WrestleMania. WrestleMania Sunday, I think, is what the official terminology is. I think you're supposed to call it WrestleMania Saturday, WrestleMania Sunday, WrestleMania Sunday. Really some good matches on the card. And, I'm really curious, once we hopefully get back to normal next year, does this 2-night WrestleMania thing stick around? I know they're doing it. So. I know they're doing it for attendance purposes and everything, but it'll be interesting to see.
You can't do that because you're going to put tickets on sale so far in advance, and nobody's going to want to buy a day that they don't know what the matches are.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. So most likely getting back to normal.
The 4.5 hour WrestleMania.
But hey, enjoy what might be the last ever 2-part WrestleMania.
Don't forget also, Linda, I forgot to, and I feel remiss that I didn't mention this. Linda has Sheamus. Linda also has Alexa Bliss showing up on the pay-per-view as well, probably with The Fiend. And Linda's got Big E in a big Intercontinental Championship match in a Nigerian drum match.
Who's got Becky Lynch when she appears?
Becky Lynch is no longer on the roster.
Oh,
no one has Becky. Drew had Becky. Again, we're going to have to review the tape on that one. Maybe go back and text messages. I'm calling shenanigans. All right. So for Matthew Thomas, I'm the man they call Meathead. We'll talk to you tomorrow morning to review WrestleMania Sunday. So long, everyone.